All right, so today we're going to deep dive into something you might not expect, bringing book clubs into the workplace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got this guide on setting one up, and honestly, some of the benefits they list are pretty surprising.
Right.
Like, we're talking team bonding, some serious professional development,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even like a way to tackle burnout.
It is really fascinating how powerful those shared learning experiences can be.
Right?
Like there was this study in 2023.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it found that virtual book clubs actually helped doctors and nurses reduce burnout.
Oh.
Yeah, connecting over a book,
Mm-hmm.
even online.
Yeah.
It can have these ripple effects on well-being and teamwork.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
What if, like, your whole team was buzzing with new ideas and even picking up crucial skills together just from a book club?
Right, and the guide really zeroes in on how a book club can open people up to new perspectives,
Oh, for sure.
which is like gold in any workplace.
Yeah.
Think upskilling, a boost to professional development, and maybe even just making the day-to-day more enjoyable.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Okay.
The guide suggests focusing on a specific theme for your book club.
Okay.
They say to think about things like your industry, so maybe AI or education or essential skills your team needs,
Yeah.
like graphic design or digital marketing.
Choosing a theme that really clicks with your team's goals and interests is key.
Yeah,
It's about building that sense of community and that shared purpose.
for sure.
I even saw them suggest like niche themes,
Oh, really?
like book clubs just for new managers
Oh, wow.
or working parents.
I love that.
Yeah.
Super targeted. Okay, hear me out. A book club just for data nerds. Right? Maybe that's a little too niche, but you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it shows how many possibilities there are.
it does. And it's not just about finding your niche. It's about making sure everyone feels welcome.
Yeah.
The guide really stresses the importance of inclusivity
Uh-huh.
and making sure your book selections feature authors from diverse backgrounds.
Absolutely an open and welcoming book club for everyone.
Yes.
Now, for actually choosing the books,
You okay?
the guide recommends a mix of classics in your genre, some fresh new titles,
Okay.
and of course, those diverse voices we were talking about.
It's all about balance
Mm-hmm.
and making sure you have that rich experience.
Yeah.
They even suggest polling your coworkers to get a feel for what they'd like to read.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a great way to get everyone excited right from the start.
All right, and now this is where things get really interesting for me, and, I'm a Blinkist fan.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They have these curated reading lists called Blinkist collections
Oh, cool.
that are perfect for this.
Nice.
They have topics like agile essentials or soft skills for business professionals.
Oh, wow.
It's like a shortcut to finding amazing book club material.
I've heard of Blinkist, but how exactly does it work?
Okay.
What's the value proposition for someone with a packed schedule?
Blinkist takes these nonfiction books
Okay.
and distills them down to their core ideas, which they call blinks.
Okay.
You can read or listen to a whole book's worth of insight in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
Perfect for busy professionals who want to learn but don't have hours to spend reading.
Yeah, those collections sound like a fantastic resource,
Mhm.
especially for testing out different themes or getting a feel for a book before committing to the whole thing.
Exactly. And they can be fantastic jumping off points for your discussions.
Yeah.
So we've got our theme, we've got our books. What's next?
Let's see.
The guide talks about figuring out how often you'll meet
Okay.
and suggests monthly, bi-monthly, or even quarterly.
Finding that sweet spot is key here.
Yeah.
You want people to have enough time to actually finish the book,
Right.
but not so long that they lose momentum or forget those burning discussion points.
Yeah.
What does the guide recommend as a starting point?
They actually recommend starting with monthly meetings
Okay.
and then adjusting based on your team's feedback and engagement.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
Start strong, gauge interest, and then adapt.
Mm.
What about those teams where everyone is constantly on the go?
For those super busy teams, the guide suggests maybe using blinks, those summaries from Blinkist,
Oh,
for shorter reads.
interesting.
It's about flexibility and figuring out what works best for your specific team.
Wouldn't using summaries undermine the whole purpose of a deep dive?
Oh, that's a fair point.
We want people to engage with the material thoroughly.
I think it depends on the book and the goals of the club.
Okay.
Sometimes getting the core concepts is enough to spark a lively discussion and inspire further exploration.
Yeah,
It can be a gateway to deeper engagement, not a replacement for it.
that's a good perspective.
Yeah.
And what about remote teams?
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of companies are dealing with that these days.
You're right. Remote work is huge now, and the guide makes it clear that virtual book clubs can be just as effective.
Okay.
Remember that study we mentioned about the doctors and nurses?
Yeah.
It was a virtual book club, and it still had amazing results.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
It means you're not limited by location.
Exactly.
So we've covered the basics, themes, choosing the books,
Uh-huh.
and figuring out how often to meet.
Mm-hmm.
But the guide actually goes a step further.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they talk about ways to enrich the experience by going beyond just reading.
And I have to say, this is where I get really excited.
Okay.
Think guest speakers,
Oh, wow.
relevant TED Talks podcasts,
Oh, cool.
or even workshops related to your book's theme.
It's like you're taking the book club and launching it into a whole new dimension.
Exactly.
It encourages active learning and deeper engagement with the material.
Exactly. Let's say you're reading a book about leadership.
Okay.
Why not invite a successful entrepreneur to share their insights?
Yeah.
Or maybe host a mini workshop on effective communication.
Mm-hmm.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's all about thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And creating an immersive experience that goes beyond just the words on the page.
Yeah.
How does this all sound to you so far?
I'm already brainstorming themes and books, but before I get carried away, the guide also has some great tips on actually launching your book club,
Oh, okay.
which is probably where a lot of people get stuck.
Right. You can have the best ideas in the world,
Yeah.
but if you don't launch, well, it fizzles out.
Yeah.
What does the guide suggest?
They stress clear communication from the start.
Okay.
Make sure to give people all the important details up front,
Yeah.
where and when you'll meet, what book you're reading, and how they can get a copy.
It's all about making it easy for people to jump in and participate.
Exactly.
And don't forget those regular reminders.
Oh, for sure.
We all get busy,
Yeah,
so a little nudge can go a long way.
absolutely. And let's not forget about those new hires.
Yeah.
Welcoming them to the book club is a great way to make them feel included right from the start.
Good point.
But now that we have everyone on board and excited, how do we make sure the discussions themselves are engaging and insightful?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the real magic of a book club happens, right?
That's a great question, and it's something the guide delves into as well. They emphasize making discussions interactive and engaging, moving beyond just summarizing the plot.
We want people to really think critically about the book and how
Totally.
it connects to their work and their own experiences.
Exactly. So how do we achieve that? What specific strategies does the guide offer for facilitating those dynamic discussions?
That's what we'll be exploring next. Stay tuned as we unpack the guide's tips for making those book club conversations truly come alive.
All right, so let's dive into the heart of a book club. You know, the discussions.
Yeah.
The guide really emphasizes making them lively and interactive, something more than just rehashing the plot.
Right. We want to make sure people are thinking deeply about the book, right? Connecting it back to their work and even their own personal experiences.
Absolutely. They suggest coming prepared with thought-provoking questions.
Oh, okay.
It's like having a little cheat sheet
Right.
to keep the conversation flowing and make sure you hit those key themes.
Oh, I love that because it can be a little intimidating to lead a discussion. So having some prepped questions would definitely ease the pressure. Did they have any suggestions for, types of questions?
They did.
Yeah.
They even suggest starting with some icebreaker questions,
Oh, okay.
especially if your group's a little shy at first.
Yeah.
It helps everyone get comfortable sharing.
That's so smart. You don't want people feeling put on the spot right away.
Right.
And once the ice is broken, what are some ways to keep that momentum going?
Well, the guide suggests getting creative with the format.
Okay.
They mention things like debates, role-playing,
Oh, wow.
even having members present their takeaways in different ways, like with visuals or maybe even a short skit.
Whoa, a skit. Now that would definitely make things memorable.
Yeah.
I can imagine acting out a scene from the book.
Yeah.
Or putting together a mini presentation on the key themes.
It's all about thinking outside the box.
Right.
And remember, there are no right or wrong answers here.
Yeah.
The guide is all about creating a safe space where people can explore different interpretations even if they disagree and learn from each other.
That's such a crucial point, especially in a work environment. You want to create a space where everyone feels safe to share their honest thoughts, even if those thoughts are different from what everyone else is thinking.
Exactly. The guide actually uses the term psychological safety,
Okay.
which they define as creating an environment where people feel comfortable sharing their honest opinions
Yeah.
without worrying about being judged or facing negative consequences.
I love that they address that directly. It makes so much sense. If people are afraid to speak their minds, the whole point of the book club kind of falls apart, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They might even disengage entirely.
Yeah.
We want people to feel comfortable asking questions, admitting when they don't understand something, and really taking risks in their thinking.
And all of that leads to better learning and growth, both individually and as a team.
Oh.
It's fascinating how this one concept, psychological safety, can have such a huge impact.
Yeah.
But how do we actually make sure that's happening in our book club?
Well, the guide suggests being really intentional about it right from the start.
Okay.
Make sure you're emphasizing that this is a safe space for open dialogue.
Yeah.
And that everyone's opinions are truly valued, even if they're different.
And I think it goes beyond just saying it, right? We have to walk the walk, too.
Absolutely.
Listening attentively to others, acknowledging their perspectives,
Yeah.
even being willing to admit when we've changed our minds about something.
Leading by example is key.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to address conflicts or disagreements that pop up.
Oh, right.
It's not about avoiding those tough conversations. It's about navigating them respectfully and constructively.
It's almost like you need some ground rules for communication.
Yeah.
Things like avoiding personal attacks, using I statements to express your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and being mindful of interrupting others.
All great ideas. The guide really hammers home that it's not about being right or wrong. It's about going deeper, digging into those themes, the characters, the messages behind the story.
Right.
How does it relate to your work? How does it challenge what you thought you knew?
Mm-hmm.
How does it change how you see the world?
Those are such good questions. It's like taking the book and making it personal, making it relevant to your own life and your work experience.
And speaking of personal, the guide even suggests setting aside some time for individual reflection.
Okay.
Maybe journaling about what really resonated with you, or thinking about how you can use the book's lessons in your own role.
It's almost like adding another layer to the whole experience.
Right.
You have the discussion with the group, but then you also have this time to process it on your own, to really make those connections and see how it all fits together.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of simply sharing those personal connections with the group.
Right.
Maybe a character reminded you of someone, or a certain passage sparked a memory.
Yeah.
Those personal touches bring the discussion to life.
It makes it feel more real, more human.
Yeah.
And it helps build those bonds between team members, which was one of the main goals of starting a book club in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Fostering a sense of community and shared understanding.
Yeah.
It can have a huge impact on how your team works together and on their overall morale.
For sure. But let's be realistic for a second. Not every book is going to be a home run with everyone.
Right.
The guide acknowledges that sometimes people just won't connect with the chosen book.
That's bound to happen. We all have different tastes.
Right. So how do we handle that?
Well, instead of seeing it as a failure, the guide suggests using it as an opportunity for understanding.
Okay.
Why didn't this book resonate? What other types of books might be a better fit for future choices?
It's almost like turning those differing opinions into a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about judging the book or the person who chose it.
Right.
It's about using those differences to expand everyone's reading horizons.
And it can lead to some really interesting discussions about different perspectives and preferences.
Exactly. You learn just as much from the books you don't love as the ones you do. The guide also mentions something else I think is really important: celebrating successes.
It doesn't have to be anything big, but acknowledging milestones like finishing a challenging book
Yeah.
or having an especially great discussion can go a long way.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's about creating a positive and supportive environment where people feel appreciated for their participation.
Exactly. A little appreciation goes a long way. But beyond the celebrations and discussions, I think the guide is really getting at something bigger here, right?
They are. It's about building a culture of continuous learning,
Mm-hmm.
encouraging curiosity,
Yeah.
and creating opportunities for personal and professional growth.
It's like planting a seed that can grow into something truly amazing. We've covered a lot of ground here: choosing themes, picking the right books, having those engaging discussions,
Right.
even handling disagreements and celebrating milestones.
We've really explored how a book club can be a powerful tool for team bonding,
Yeah.
professional development, and even battling burnout.
It's so much more than just reading a book, isn't it?
It is. But before we move on to the final insights from the guide, let's pause for a moment.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine you've successfully launched a book club at work.
Okay.
The discussions are flowing, and you're starting to see positive changes in your team. What does that look like to you?
Yeah. It is really exciting to think about all the possibilities, the energy, the shared insights, the connections being made.
Absolutely.
It seems like such a small thing, just reading a book together.
Right.
But the ripple effects can be huge.
Yeah. As we've been talking about all these benefits and practical tips,
Mhm.
I've been thinking about something that isn't directly mentioned in the guide:
Okay.
but it feels really crucial to making this work, especially in a workplace setting.
Oh, intrigue me. What are you thinking about?
It's about fostering a culture of trust and respect within the book club.
Okay.
It goes beyond just being inclusive or having respectful dialogue.
Right.
It's about making sure everyone feels safe to share their honest thoughts, even if those thoughts are different from the majority.
You're so right that sense of safety is crucial. People need to know they won't be judged or ridiculed for their opinions, that they can take risks in their thinking without worrying about negative consequences.
Exactly. They need to feel comfortable disagreeing, asking questions, even admitting when they don't understand something.
Right.
Without that safety, the book club discussions can become really superficial.
Yeah.
And people might even disengage altogether.
It's almost like you need to build a foundation of trust before you can really dig into the meat of the book.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we make sure our book club feels like a safe space for everyone?
Oh, the guide doesn't explicitly use this term.
Okay.
But what we're talking about is creating psychological safety.
Right.
And I think it starts with setting clear expectations right from the beginning.
Okay.
Make it clear that the book club is a space for open dialogue. And that everyone's opinions are valued, even if they differ from the norm.
I love that, setting the stage for open and honest conversations right from the start. But it can't just be lip service, right? We have to model that behavior ourselves as facilitators.
Absolutely. Listening attentively to what others are saying, acknowledging their perspectives, even being willing to admit when we've changed our minds about something. Leading by example.
Right.
Shows everyone that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
To be open to new ideas and to not have all the answers.
And it's not just about being open to different opinions.
Right.
It's about handling disagreements in a healthy way, right? Those tough conversations are bound to happen.
For sure.
But it's how we approach them that makes all the difference.
Exactly. Instead of seeing disagreements as a threat, we can frame them as opportunities for growth and understanding.
I like that.
It's about being curious about why someone sees things differently, listening to their perspective, and finding common ground, even when there are differences.
It's almost like turning those disagreements into learning experiences for everyone involved. And sometimes that might even mean setting some ground rules for communication, right?
That's a great idea. Things like avoiding personal attacks, using I statements to express your feelings.
Right.
And being mindful of not interrupting others can make a huge difference in how those conversations unfold.
It's all about creating a space where everyone feels respected and heard, even when things get a little heated. But building this kind of trust and safety takes time and effort, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's an ongoing process that requires us to be intentional and attentive to the dynamics within the group.
Yeah.
But the payoff is huge. When people feel psychologically safe, they're more likely to engage in the discussions,
Right.
to be creative in their thinking, and to contribute their unique perspectives.
And those benefits extend far beyond the book club, right? It can have a ripple effect on the entire team,
Absolutely.
creating a more collaborative and innovative work environment.
Exactly. It's about fostering a culture of learning and growth,
Yeah.
where everyone feels empowered to contribute their best work.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. Imagine the impact of a book club that not only sparks new ideas and strengthens team bonds, but also creates a culture of trust and respect where everyone feels safe to be themselves and to contribute their unique perspectives. What kind of difference could that make in your workplace? It's something to consider as you embark on your own book club adventure. Happy reading, everyone.
And happy connecting. Remember, the most valuable insights often come from the shared experiences and diverse perspectives of others,